would be.
I feel like a sloth in comparison to you. My attention is get done the things that I need to do, like contract, like translation, like pay the bills and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Don't die in the process or don't give birth in the process of doing that. And then um yeah, and then I don't have much, like I have a span of energy that usually concentrates during the mornings, and I need to take the most out of that, right? And
Yeah.
then when it's 5 p.m., 4 p.m. is like I'm decaying. But that all of that, it looks like it's normal.
Cool.
I'm 8 months and 2 weeks. So that means from now on, almost any time can be the time. Hopefully,
Yeah.
it will happen the first days of March, which is my due date. Um, but yeah, this is like I know that my brain is getting divided in two things. One is getting the work done, and then the other one is the house ready for the birth plan? Is the house ready for the baby? That's
Wow.
and I feel like an old person with you guys.
You definitely have like
A
responsibilities
different
that we
stage
don't.
of life, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Crazy. That's me. And I choose Carlos.
Thank you, Delphi. And yeah, that's another stage of life totally. Um, I have other smaller problems. um, yeah, no, the week started great. Tons of things to look forward to. Um, the only thing that pretty much sucks a little is that I was like boxing really early in the morning and the boxing gym closed. So I'm like,
Mm.
no, I need that initial day energy to that explosive energy to really focus. So yeah, I'm gonna have to come up with a plan B for training. But yeah, looking into what options are there. Um, Aside from that, yeah, I mean, excited in general for many things that are happening. I also like reading about how technology is moving, how AI is moving, hackathons that are upcoming the rest of the year, and it seems that it might be a really interesting year ahead. So really looking forward to it, you know. And yeah, basically that I feel great, much better organizing my finances and other personal things. And yeah, that's it. I'll pass it to Noah.
Alrighty, alrighty. Yes, so I'm back in Barcelona. Happy to be here in the warmer side of Spain. Um, although we are having like lots of rain here since Friday or Thursday last week, so
Yeah.
it's raining man all the
Loads
time.
of rain.
I'm very happy because yeah, I mean last week's call with Vir was pretty useful and good because we reach a mutual understanding point um, for this integration and how that would look in the lens of the invited organizations. Now that is the time of more tech development. I think I'm gonna be more. more available for other parts of Prisma if needed, for ALJ if needed as well. I'm very happy also because I'm starting a project with a friend of mine that just came from Brazil. And we want to, well, he wants to open a supplement store, uh, all the proteins and creatines and etc.
Mm.
And he invited me to be his partner, his socio, how you say,
Yeah.
partner, yeah,
No.
Yeah. Yeah.
in Barcelona. So this week I'm gonna try to reorganize a little bit my life and uh, my goals for this year, because I mean I always learned and I always loved the nutrition part and the supplementation part of sports and fitness. So it's one of my dream jobs ever, apart from Web3. So I'm gonna focus real hard on that in 2026. And yeah, I'm just happy overall. Stop smoking. It's my 20th day without smoking anything, and I feel much more um, lucid.
Mm.
Yeah, less reactive, less stressed. Just feeling good in general. And yeah. Oh, also, Lingara, my personal project. We got approved to be in the Help Bank Accelerator from the
Whoa.
UK. It's from Simon Squibb. It's a super entrepreneur from the UK. And also, we just got approved to the Digital Cooperation Board inside of the United Nations as the first AI for cognitive adaptation. So I'm taking like big steps this month of January, and yeah, just very happy overall. Just wanted to share all of those different stuff that's going on.
Mm. Congrats.
Thanks.
Sounds like
Beautiful.
big milestone. Carlos, you're up.
No, he was
You
up.
already went. I was the last one.
Oh, sure, yeah. The boxing. Yeah. Okay. Um, so all right, then as a wake-up exercise, are either of you familiar with what a wake-up exercise is, Carlos and Noah?
I would say yes, but I would be lying.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, same. I mean, I need to wake up. I woke up like 40 minutes ago.
All right. Cool, yeah. It's all right, then Delphi, do you feel like introducing what a wake-up exercise is to you?
I am going to introduce it with a different quality than Regenesis.
Yeah,
If that's
that's
okay.
fine.
So this is the proposal. The wake up exercise is to connect with something that is developing and it's in process of emerging and happening, and also with what we can sense of it, of its own potential. So, and all of this sounds very abstract, but don't worry. The idea is that I'm gonna play out sort of a visualization or an image that will grow. But in order for this image to grow, I need you to contribute to it. Why? Because I'm going to play a little bit with what the ALJ in Argentina could be. But the interesting thing about that is I don't fully know what it could be with DIDs inside of it. And the people that know the most about DIDs is you too. So I cannot sort of include it, but you can include it. Okay? So it's going to be, I've never done this before, but it's going to be a collaborative imaging into what the ALJ could be, into its own potential. Yes.
Delphi. That was wonderful. And I think a clarification that might help would be, what is it about this that makes it a wake-up exercise?
What is about this that makes it a wake-up exercise?
Are you asking
Tell me.
me?
Yeah.
All right, then. So the thing that makes this a wake-up exercise is that it requires people to engage fresh thinking,
New thinking.
new thinking, yeah. And that's distinct from arriving to a meeting, saying kind of like a summary of what you're working on or something, which is very usual. You're expected to do that. You already know the contents before the meeting, whereas a wake-up exercise kind of opens up this space where you're like figuring things out new there and then in the moment. And that's really a very creative space to open.
Good.
Any questions from Carlos or no?
Hmm. No, I'd rather see how it goes through some examples.
Cool.
So this is not going to be an example. This is straight participation. I'm going to start.
Okay.
And then once you or Carlos pick up where dates should sort of come up, you need to bring it in.
Okay.
Okay. Remember, it's sort of a visualization aspect. Yes, we don't need to make it uh as Regenesis does. I'm just saying
Yeah,
that. Okay.
yeah. I think a few more ingredients can clarify and help us further. So,
Okay.
first thing is, given that this might be like a first experience of a wake-up exercise, let's just lower the stakes to near zero, right? This is just something to feel fun so that we all feel like, hey, today was a cool call that we had to like regroup together as a team. And that's the first thing, lowering the stakes, just enjoy it. Second thing is roles for the next 10-15 minutes. So I'll do a first offering, but we can iterate that straight away if you'd like to. What Delphi has already shared is that she's gonna speak about the ALJ as an image, like a moving process, and there's this question of how does DIDS fit into that? So Delphi's kind of got this role of holding the ALJ.
Mhm.
Then what Delphi's also said as well already, but I'm just highlighting it, is Noah and Carlos, they're like the did specialists. That's your niche. That's your domain. And so you can speak from that place. You're holding that system. Um, Therefore, is there any role that you would like me to actively play, or I can also just observe? And also,
Eh,
that was just an offering. You can change those descriptions of roles if you want to.
no, it's okay. Maybe what you can have a sense is how this fits on the movement that Prisma is bringing as well.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. But I think that would make it more complex.
Okay, what role do you want to play then?
I could I could be like Taskmaster, if that's a
I
name.
don't even know what's that. What is a taskmaster?
I'll just basically keep track of time a little bit and try to remind us that we're doing a wake-up exercise.
Okay. It's not gonna be a lot like, okay, let's start. Let's make
Yeah.
it. We need to learn as we go.
Okay, then let's do until 45 past. So
Yeah, maybe a little bit. I think 10 minutes is gonna be fine.
Okay, 40 past.
Okay. So, none of you been in Argentina. Good.
Mm,
So
Oh,
imagine that you are flying in to Buenos Aires and a place that you know very little about. You know about football, maybe you know about mate, you know about some music, some rock, in Spanish.
I see.
Um, you know about asados and parrillas, and that people like to chat a lot and get together quite a bit. And you're excited about all of this, but also you're excited because you're coming in summer. And summer is sort of a high moment of Buenos Aires, is where all the music is playing out in the squares, in the plazas, in the bars, is where people are drinking and chatting and having fun, is where a lot of percussion happens in different places. um, there is this such a nice and good vibes everywhere. But also, when you land in Buenos Aires, you can see how vast is it. So the province of Buenos Aires is almost the size of France, right? So think about 17 million people living in one province. So it's massive. And in that vastness, what you know and what you see is that everything is flat. That's where you can connect. Oh, I heard once that someone talk about gauchos and the pampas and all of that. Well, it's because it's very sort of flat. And there's a few cars, there's a lot of people, and there's many things sort of happening at the same time. It's very loud, but it's not loud like India, like overpopulated places. It's more loud because people speak loud. Because it looks that they are shouting to each other, but actually they are not. They might be laughing, they might be exchanging, and so on. And you arrive, you get into a really nice sort of environment, neighborhood where all foreigners and a lot of things happen, cultural things especially, and there's a lot of restaurants and vibes, which is called Palermo. And it's a little bit hot. It's 25 degrees, sometimes 30, so it's quite intense. And you get there, and then suddenly we meet. We get together, the four of us, and it's like, oh, we're here all together. This is so good. Let's go and have some food. Let's go and have some fun. Let's go and see percussion and see how people dance and how people play music here and so on. And the next day is the first day of the ALJ, because we've been working together a lot in designing with the hubs, which you're going to meet Demian and Rosa, and Vero and another person, which I don't know who she or he is, but they have this interesting sort of different quality. Demian and Rosa from Semillero Digital, they are an NGO. They really like to work with people that from low economic background that want to escalate and learn about life and insert themselves in technological ways to advance their life. And they come from very poor communities where it's very difficult to do this on your own. So you need support. And so it's more of like an informal conversation with them. And then with Vero and this other person, It's more, we are working with organizations, different organizations that they already have their own projects. But what we are allowing them is to see more of the community that they are impacting, right? And you know, all these people all separate. But now that you're in Buenos Aires and you've sensed the vibe and you sense how the people sort of speak to each other, which is very straightforward, because there's always someone, everyone is opinionated, everyone wants to tell their own truth, everyone talks at the same time. This is always happening. You get together to travel to a place where the hackathon will begin, where the first enrollment process will start, right? And we've have around 200 signups for participants. And we know that we need to do an onboarding of the enrollment, explain them how to get inside of this process in a very particular way. And you see Delphi that is walking around you, and she doesn't know anything about how to do the first enrollment. So one of you needs to sort of engage with the 120 participants that we have on site. And one of you needs sort of to facilitate a little bit what that information will contain. So it's easy for them to then enter into the learning process, the learning arcs process. So who wants to facilitate?
Okay, wait. The last part, if you could, if we could, you could repeat that again. The last part would be, um,
We are in the venue.
okay.
We've had some media lunas,
Mm-hmm.
croissants, some
Okay.
mate was being shared, and the event is starting
Mm-hmm.
in 2 minutes.
Okay.
Okay, and the first bit of it, we've spoke to the hubs about the enrollment process, about what DIDS is for them, but
Mm-hmm.
now we need to speak to the participants about it.
Mm-hmm.
So how do we facilitate that bit?
It's interesting.
And remember that we have very different people. We have people that come from very low economic backgrounds, most likely low education. Not low education, but a different education. And then we have people that work in organizations, so higher education in that sense.
Mm-hmm.
So we have this too. So it needs to be simple. We need to communicate this in such a way that makes sense almost for everyone.
Okay. My first initial thought would be to do a sort of a workshop, and identifying those, like people that could lead the communication towards those different groups, right? Instead of us trying to communicate and make everything to make sense for various different profiles of people, which is very difficult. I was wondering if we could do like a game, like inside of a workshop, similar to what I lived with TAPS. Um, but in a way, I mean, because it gets a little bit in conflict with my head, because I don't want to segregate groups of people, but what I think that maybe could make sense would be, um, like a workshop of self governance, of learning and teaching. So let's say we have group A, group B, and group C. We could identify the sort of people that has a more like a more leadership vibe, so we can so they can also explain to the people that are there which are more similar to them in a way, in a much better way. Don't know if I'm explaining myself correctly.
Yes, but I'm gonna tell you a little bit of an idea.
Hmm.
You have the people from Wingu and you have the people from Semillero Digital.
Okay.
So maybe what I would suggest Delphi to Noah would be, Che Noah, why don't you bring two co-facilitators with you and ask them, ask someone from Semillero Digital to be your co-facilitator of this, and then someone from Wingood to be the other ones because they know their population, they know how they need to communicate.
Yeah.
But then my question would be to you, how are you going to design or explain to them what's the process of that co-facilitation? What is it that you two need to do for the people, right? And then you can identify leaders because first of all, you need to introduce the idea and
Hmm.
see who feels most sort of activated around it, right?
Yeah, we were talking about the same thing. Sorry, sometimes I forget the terms that we use. I was thinking in a sort of more like co-facilitators, and then those co-facilitators could help me to identify those leaders and to manage the groups. But first of all, I would like to hear and from them, from the groups, from the co-leaders and etc. Instead of just like info dump straight away, like maybe design some key questions of like what is a contribution for you, you know, what is your way to how you say it in English.
Say it in Spanish.
O sea, qué es valuable? O sea, ¿qué es valioso para ti? O sea, ¿en qué consiste una contribución? ¿Qué es una contribución? ¿Qué no es? ¿Qué es una ayuda? ¿Sabes? En plan, porque mucha gente tiene, claro, o sea, todos tenemos conceptos o ideas diferentes de lo mismo, ¿no? Pero yo creo que antes de diseñar lo que sería la comunicación hacia ellos, es entender qué son contribuciones para ellos, o sea, hacer preguntas así incisivas.
Sí,
¿Sí me explico?
me parece perfecto. Esa pregunta me parece que va a tener mucho más potencia si vos le explicas un poco desde dónde viene, qué es la estructura. Y
Ujú.
esto en Prisma nos pasa muchas veces, que nosotros tenemos tan internalizado el proceso que por ahí traemos una pregunta y el otro no sabe desde dónde agarrarse.
Vale.
Entonces, mi sugerencia en ese caso sería, ok, ¿cómo haces o sea, ahora vas a presentar algo, que el propósito va a ser que cada uno de ellos tenga un registro de sus propias contribuciones,
Ujú.
pero hay algo técnico, hay algo que trae Prisma que está al servicio de que esas contribuciones, digamos, se eleven y tengan sentido. Entonces, y no quiero decir explicar en pocas palabras qué es DEEDS, pero sí trae un poquito de un marco, porque ahora estamos entrando al enrollment process. Todos ellos quieren participar, ya lo saben. Ahora, ¿cómo van a participar? ¿Cómo van a entrar a ese proceso participativo? Esa es DEEDS, digamos.
Ujú.
Entonces, y acá le abro a los dos, a ustedes dos no te estoy poniendo en el foco, no, así que no te
No,
sientas
no,
presionado.
tranqui, tranqui.
Pero entonces, ¿cómo le explican a alguien que no tiene tanto registro, qué es lo que van a estar haciendo para entrar a ese proceso? acordate, tenés estos cofacilitadores, ellos van a estar ajustando la comunicación, pero vos tenés que dar un mensaje iniciático, digamos.
Bueno, pues yo creo que mi mensaje sería enseñando las diferentes posibilidades de, de cosas que ellos podrían hacer en el evento, o sea, utilizando DITs, explicar, o sea, a mí lo que me gusta mucho es simplificar el lenguaje, ¿no? Adaptar el lenguaje. Entonces, incluso, o sea, me viene una idea a la cabeza de que a lo mejor podríamos, bueno, esto, eso a lo mejor no, no, espérate. Es que me ha venido una idea, digo, a lo mejor podríamos utilizar alguna parte de Lingara para poder simplificar o adaptar el material, pero creo que eso sería muy rebuscado. Em,
Algo más fácil, yo trabajaría con una metáfora, tipo, bueno, hoy todos acá van a tener como una identificación. Esa identificación es tipo, bueno, yo soy Delphi, Delphi va a contribuir de esta manera y siempre va a haber un registro de mi contribución. Esto va a
claro.
pasar tanto a nivel técnico como a nivel participativo. Yo voy a ver que vos contribuiste, pero a nivel
Mm,
técnico es muy importante porque le das información aquello que después tenemos que empezar a codificar juntos en equipo. ¿Tá? Entonces, DEEDS es la puerta de entrada para que cada uno pueda identificarse a sí mismo y cómo va modificando y cambiando las ideas y los proyectos y las comunidades que trae por su propio proceso, digamos. No sé, estoy
mm.
jugando acá porque está, pero tiene que ser algo simplificado, o sea, porque nosotros les vamos a estar pidiendo una wallet, les vamos a estar pidiendo un montón de cosas y ellos tienen que tener mucha claridad de
Sí,
por qué le pedimos tanto, o sea, cuál va a ser el aporte positivo que todos estos pedidos van a estar empujando o ayudando, ¿no? Carlos, ¿querés intentar a ver si te ponemos un poco de
O
voz?
sea, lo que dijiste era más o menos lo que estaba pensando. O sea, antes de introducir alguna tecnología o alguna idea que nosotros tenemos internalizada, de pronto llegar con ejemplos sencillos de, bueno, toca ver el demographics de ellos, pero ejemplos sencillos que se ajusten a su realidad para que puedan entender cómo funciona DITS. Entonces, no sé, por ejemplo, lo que dijiste, lo de una identificación, tu pasaporte, ese vendría siendo
Claro,
vamos a ver, tu registro y cada VC, o sea, sería como una estampa de que entraste al país. En cierta forma es eso y queda ya inmutable ahí. Entonces, darle como ejemplos que les muestren cómo va a funcionar en cierta forma. Y ya una vez tengas esos ejemplos, puedes entonces ya introducir poco a poco la tecnología de que, bueno, necesitas un pasaporte, necesitas una wallet. Pronto se podría hacer un proceso más sencillo de cómo tener la wallet, porque de hecho hoy día lo que veo es que ya hay wallets non-custodial. O sea, básicamente tú le generas la wallet a la persona, de pronto eso se podría incluir y después se la das ya cuando tenga más control, pero de entrada es como que, mira, tienes una wallet, la puedes usar así y puedes aplicarla así en tu proceso para el tema de los stamps en tu pasaporte, que sería como tus contribuciones,
total.
sería como
Mira,
por esa línea.
sí, a mí justo estabas hablando y se me ocurrió una metáfora. Nosotros tenemos un lugar muy importante acá que se llama la bomba del tiempo, que la bomba del tiempo es un lugar de percusión. Y lo interesante de estos lugares de percusión es que viene mucha gente a verlos. Y entonces está la bomba del tiempo, está Pan Percusión, hay varios, y entran gente que empieza a rapear, entra gente que empieza a cantar o a tocar o a eh, bueno, a lo que sea. Y entonces lo que me imaginaba es, imagínate que tenemos una gran fiesta. en donde va a haber gente que hace percusión, en donde va a haber gente que va a cantar, en donde va a gente que va a rapear, en donde va a haber gente ta. Cuando vos entrás, tenés como un identificativo. ¿Sí? O como si fuera un pasaporte o una tarjetita, o una tarjetita, ¿no? Y esa tarjetita, cada vez que vos contribuís de determinada manera a esa percusión, de manera que es cantada o de manera que es rapear o de manera que es tocar algún instrumento, va como registrándose, para que vos puedas ir viendo de qué manera afectaste y modificaste esa fiesta, ese proceso de musical, digamos. Y entonces, parte de toda esa construcción musical es parte tuya y tiene que ver con tus contribuciones. Entonces, todo eso se registra para después poder ver cuáles fueron los roles de cada uno en profundidad, qué es lo que cada uno está diseñando, de qué manera está contribuyendo a hacer sentido colectivo, ¿no? Me imaginaba algo así. Y nos estamos yendo de tiempo y no me quiero ir de tiempo, voy a cerrar acá el wake up. Pero esto se los dejo porque es algo que tenemos que diseñar juntos. Esto mismo que estamos hablando ahora es, bueno, ¿cómo le presentamos a los dos hubs la importancia de DEEDs? Y después, ¿cómo lo comunicamos a los participantes? Que va a haber gente que no va a entender un choto de lo que estamos hablando, un wallet no va, primero que wallet no sabe lo que es, vamos a tener que hablar de billetera. Y va a haber gente que va a entender un poquito más porque ya está en el rubro hace un ratito más de tiempo. Pero tenemos estos dos individuos muy distintos dentro de este mismo proceso. ¿Tá? Así que les dejo como esta idea para que empiecen a cranear.
A ver, yo creo que a lo mejor estamos yendo, o a lo mejor estamos teniendo como mucho miedo de eso, ¿no? O sea, lo de la wallet y tal, porque es algo súper, súper sencillo y que aparte, al final es todo como lo explicas a la persona, ¿no? O sea, y es lo que dijiste, vamos a trabajar con metáforas, vamos a trabajar con juegos, de que sea algo divertido, divertido crear una wallet y explicarles también que lo que están aprendiendo acá, bueno, lo que están aprendiendo allá, en estas partes que son un poquito más técnicas, estas herramientas que son un poquito más tecnológicas, que les van a servir para cosas futuras, no solo la ALJ,
Totalmente.
para su vida como tal y también para que ellos puedan desarrollar proyectos con o dentro de Prisma con las otras herramientas que tenemos, ¿no? Porque Propágate,
Claro.
por ejemplo, con Propagate necesitas tener una wallet para entrar, ¿no?
Sí.
Entonces,
Pero pensá esto, Noah. O sea,
mm,
yo te digo sí a todo esto, me parece que va súper, pero al mismo tiempo entendé que va a haber gente que o sea, que tener un celular y usar ese celular de determinada manera no es como nosotros lo estamos utilizando. Entonces, no solo el lenguaje por ahí es distinto, sino también la experiencia de vida a lo que ellos están acostumbrados. ¿Entendés? Entonces, eh,
pero creo
para
que
que
ellos
ese
también tienen que estar
concepto no quede
abiertos.
lejos.
Sí, pero yo creo que también ellos tienen que estar abiertos, ¿no? A entender o a aprender algo nuevo. Y yo creo que la manera de hacer eso es justamente que no sea algo, ¿cómo se dice? Asustador,
No,
¿no?
no, ni hablar. Ni hablar. Pero saber esto, saber que, por ahí no me están entendiendo lo que les estoy diciendo. Y por ahí
Claro.
o sea, yo les puedo decir, esto te va a ayudar para futuro por tal y tal cosa. Por ahí no están conectados con eso y están conectados más con que quieren la birra de la noche.
Mm,
¿Por qué? Porque nunca nadie les enseñó a pensar a largo plazo. Por eso te digo, vamos a tener distintos que es un poco lo que nos pasa también nos pasó mucho con Cats. Teníamos gente que venía de comunidades muy precarias y nosotros estábamos hablando de términos muy tecnológicos. ¿Tá? Pero bueno, nada, ténganlo ahí presente para empezar a pensar y Vir va a ayudar un montón en esto porque trabaja en comunidades y sabe exactamente dónde vamos a estar metidos. Pero es un poco esa onda. Continuemos porque si no esta reunión va a durar 5 millones de años.
Okay. Muchas gracias, chicos. Y hemos terminado perfectamente con 55 minutos. He cambiado la duración del ejercicio. Um, okay, as a reminder of the agenda points, we have DIDS milestone 1 payment and milestone 2 next steps, ALJ milestones, DIDS and ALJ integration, and then DevCon internationalization, and we've done the wake up exercise. So I think it would be really good to start with the point of the DIDS and the ALJ enrollment integration, which we've already spoken to a lot. What I really liked about how Delphi opened up that exercise is how Delphi described like this whole arrival into Buenos Aires, because that way it brought alive the context, and having a real context that we can visualize kind of grounds this whole thing. So now that we've sort of like metaphorically been feeling the percussion beats on the streets and everyone talking over everyone and all of that, now it really gives a grounded reality to the next months coming up. So whose point was that? I think it was between Delphi and Noah, this point of the DIDs to enrollment integration. Before we start on that, first of all, do we have a process for developing that interrelationship over these next months? Do we have a protocol? Is it clear where those domain edges are clear enough from the mapping exercise, or is that something we need to give more time to?
Sorry. We started conversations with BID, and this is another point that will take us closer. But I think we need to inside of Prisma, we need us to design that process so that then we can communicate it in a way that is much more clear to the hubs.
Yeah, yeah. So we need to design a DIDS onboarding process, validate it internally, onboard ourselves, and then bring it to others.
Claro.
That will be key.
How far away are we from having a time when we can schedule a call and do the first onboarding exercise?
No, not far, but it doesn't need to be right away. I am still missing one call with Semillero tomorrow. So it could be next week or the next week. It's fine that we get a time and a place to design what we are thinking. And also remember that that's going to be shaped by the co-design that we are working with them as well. But that will start in February
Okay, so
when
clarification.
we have the contracts and everything.
Yeah, clarification. When you say it can be in 2 weeks from now with the hubs, is that the start of the DIDS onboarding that you're meaning?
And not specifically, I'm saying the start of the process of
Okay,
design.
the
Because we
co-design.
still we need first to sign the contracts. Once we have that,
Yeah.
everything sort of it will start going.
How
But
soon
then
can we sign the contracts, do you think?
I'll let you know at the end of this week
Okay, cool.
because I have the call with Semillero, and then also I am thinking I will have the sort of answer of Wingu.
Okay, so if we imagine at the end of this week, you let us know how much longer it will take, and then that gives us a time frame to plan an initial DIDS onboarding.
Yeah. Yeah, but remember, for example, we are going to start if all of this goes right, we're going to start working with them more consciously into the design of the whole process the 5th of February,
Yeah.
not before.
So what's
Because
the condition at which we invite those partners into a DIDS onboarding exercise?
I would prefer if we have that much more design and then we invite them with the clarity,
Okay. So
which means most likely the starting point of our milestones goes from the 15th of February to the 15th of March. So active internal work will happen with them in that time frame.
Okay.
So we can have the internal meeting before the 15th of February. That would help us because then we will be ready for that gathering with them.
Okay. So before the 15th of February, we have an internal DIDS onboarding meeting.
Yeah. That's
Okay.
why I was saying like we can even have it on the 5th of February.
Okay, now I understand. So 5th of February for internal DIDS onboarding. So
Yeah.
that we're then ready to onboard the hubs into DIDS
Yes.
and
Yes.
use DIDS in the ALJ. Okay, so then that could know a time frame, Noah
Yeah.
and Carlos and the DIDS team.
And I also have a time frame that I want to recheck with you. Bir gave me this time frame
Yeah.
that all the technical aspects of deeds will be done by the 4th of March, which that will speaks into that for the 15th of March, when the ALJ of Argentina is happening, all of that will be working and in function and in awesome shape.
Okay.
Is that right?
What does that... Okay, hold on. Before we get into that, I think it's really interesting, these details that we're clarifying. So then I feel like there's two important questions for DIDS team. One is, what does that onboarding meeting look like on February 5th? And then two, what does the 4th of March milestone mean?
But wait, which date did you say that the technical aspects will be done? That Beer said, Delphi,
March 4th.
March
That's
4th.
what Bir said.
Yeah, because we had this call with her
Hmm.
where we were taking a look at the dates milestones, and the
No,
third,
I heard like February 4th, and I was like, what?
um, because here, if we go to the dates milestone, the M3, the milestone 3, it's like the testing and refinement. So and is stated for the 4th of March. So that's where this date came from. So the milestone 3 would be like milestone 2 is the big tech development. Milestone 3 is just the security audit and testing and refinement of this previous tech development. And the final milestone is just like the things that Cardano asks us, like final video and etc. So that's where this date comes from. The call, I mean the call for onboarding the hubs or the partners, I think could be something like a walkthrough, teaching them like since like step one, creating a wallet, step two, like what are the potential that they can create while having a dates profile. like what are the many options or the many things that they could do with their identification and their contributions being on chain, and all of that, if works out, could be connected with other tools of Prisma. So maybe what I envision would be like this call of walk through deeds, and also bring in some Prisma tools to enrich the experience. Like with DIDs, you have your identification, you can verify your contributions, but hey, DIDs, it's also connected with timelining, for example, or it's also connected with docs. So every time you guys do a documentation or anything like that, we can verify those commits with DIDs as well. So it will be, I think it will be something like showing them, like, the
Yes.
circle.
No,
Oh yeah,
for
sorry.
me is no, I was thinking because then we're going into something that I think you should hold as a team. I think you should take these two questions and work them internally
Sure.
and play a little bit with what we played today. So what metaphor, what way of thinking can you bring in that would make sense that is similar to what they're going to go through with DITS,
Hmm.
right? So that
I
it
think
becomes a simple way of adapting something to something that they already know.
I think Vir would play a big role on this too, because since
Yeah.
since she's not here in this call, because she's traveling, I think like she would bring a lot of clarity in those questions that were.
Yeah, but I love that she's not here though,
Mm,
because we play with us and this is the two sort of people, we are the people that we need to meet because Beat is
Uh-huh.
here for this project. Hopefully she will be here for more, but if she's not here for more, then this is the type of sort of thinking that we are going to be tapping into the future in the following projects that we sort of
yeah,
embrace.
I say that not to rely on her, but since she
Oh,
took.
well, she's important to rely on, though. I know.
No,
And
I mean, not that I want to totally rely on her on that, but like the call we had with her and Carlos, and I think the last time we all met together, she was saying that she wants to take care of the user interface, not only the technical aspects, but the human aspects of that as well.
Mm.
So that's why I say that she would be key for this moment right now, because she sort of took like ownership of that process, which I am not um, uh, prioritizing that much since she took it for her.
Mhm.
So yeah, don't know.
and also she's Argentinian, so it's going to be easy for her for sure
Yeah.
to connect with context, with people, with communication, and so on. So don't worry. Okay, good.
So, in listening to those reflections, I realized there's another very important milestone. I don't know how much this maps directly onto the milestones in Catalyst, but the end of the ALJ is like a point when we'll kind of be able to be like, all right, a lot has happened. Where are we? Where did we manage to get to? And so I was wondering if you have that clear in your minds yet of what is it that you're aiming for in terms of DID's unlocking capabilities? What does it look like at the end of the ALJ? Can you describe that? Um, how DIDs will have been used, basically.
Yeah, it's like what I said to Vir. It's at the end of the day, it's a simple tool. It's not something that it's super complicated or something that has like so many options or things that can be done with it. It's basically an identity solution with verifiable contributions, right? But how that would be used in ALJ, uh, I think that, as I said before, it could be one of the many ways of the teams to verify their contributions internally, and also for the hackathon. I think this one is also having a hackathon, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so what we discussed is that one, this could be another additional layer for funding distribution within the process of evaluation at the end of the AOJ and the hackathon, and the winners and etc. Um, and also for them to be part of Prisma, you know, by having their deeds profile. You know, they could be like sort of Prisma members, or I still think to I still need to develop this a little bit more. But like the one of the things that we could think of is to officialize this connection between the participants and Prisma, uh, not only for this AOJ, but for furthermore projects and events that we want to do. You know, like the first portal, the first step would be creating your Prisma ID, right? So you maybe have other conditions, or maybe you have more how you say like features that you can have access to, you know, dogs to make like this not only to be like for the AOJ, but with this you can unlock access to other apps, to other processes, or you know, maybe case studies. I'm just getting that on top of my head. But the main thing would be for them to use this as maybe not the main, but one additional layer to verify what they are doing inside of the AOJ, and connect that with the bot timelining. Are we using the bot timelining? The
Yeah,
timelining?
hopefully.
Okay.
So can I reflect
Yeah, yeah.
what I'm hearing? Um, or maybe Carlos, you want to go first to say your points.
Yeah. No, I was thinking that it's like a timeline also, similarly. But a timeline of on-chain, it's on-chain and uh, IRL contributions linked to the event, to a specific set of actions, even the process, and making the work visible. And this could be linked to funding because I mean those contributions, since they are on-chain, they are also indexed and they can also be consumed by some API in case we have some other app for funding, you know, later on down the line. So there are a lot of things that can be done with the data that is generated um, based on the contributions. That's what I
Okay,
want.
so yeah, I'm hearing in what Noah said at the start, there's profiles, and at the end, there's funding distribution. In between, there's verified contributions. What Carlos is saying is you're kind of giving it some body in terms of at the end, presenting it as a timeline. And in between, these are in real life contributions. So it somehow it touches with the real world. And Noah, you were also saying how it connects with other areas of other concepts or other parts of the system, like the case study, for example. And that's actually a key aim for this whole action learning journey, Delphi, right? Is we want to try and produce one really strong case study so that we can point to it and say, this is what a case study looks like. And that gives us a foundation to engage partners. So I just wanted to ask clarification questions based off of all of that. Because that's all great. That's all really, if we can do all of that, that would be amazing. Um, so profiles at the start. We have a time frame for that already. March the 15th, the ALJ begins. Is that right, Delphi?
Yes, the external sort of the hackathon part, right?
Yeah. So will we have registered participants already or
I think so. I think we should. Uh, so March 15 for me is we are set to go.
yeah, yeah,
It's something I need to design with them because I don't. I see the relationship with Semillero Digital easier than with Wingu in terms of participants as well. Just because with Semillero Digital, we will have individual participants that will come together and develop groups. But with Wingu, it's not the same. It's going to be organizations, which is a little bit different.
yeah. So that's the same feature that would be used in both is generating profiles. The host
Yeah.
can have a profile and then the participants have a different type of profile.
Can participants be organizations?
It's a different stakeholder type, I think. It
Yeah.
would be
I
like,
think it's more like a team type.
or partner, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So let's say it's going to be a preform team that goes through the process again.
okay. So multiple types
Well,
of
sorry, what we
profile.
can maybe play with, I'm thinking out loud, is we can ask each team to register each individual.
Okay, that's fine. So before March the 15th, then we're gonna need the profile feature. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And them generating their profile is kind of like the start of their enrollment process. So
Yeah.
from there, they then go
Yeah.
deeper and deeper into this ALJ.
Yeah.
And that's needed by before March the 15th, because we
Yeah.
already have.
Ideally for March 15th.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. So that's great. Then the verified in real life contributions. This is a big one. Carlos, could you maybe give some more detail on that? I've mentioned this a bit in the chats as well. The measurement angle. Can you clarify what realistically what stage of development it will be at for the ALJ, so for March 15th?
Yeah, I mean the base implementation can be done really fast, really, regarding creating on-chain VCs and also setting up per hub or per our testing, like per group, let's say, what is the schema of what is a valid contribution and verifying them on chain, maybe in a process with two people. So I guess the flow of verifying a contribution and also um, setting up what is valid and also the whole BC creation process, revoking and updating, no, updating, no, revoking, like that whole flow will be done pretty fast. I guess the real question is, if we're gonna adapt it a little bit more to some other flow, I guess, which is what I'm hearing. But I mean, like the base implementation can be done in really fast once we begin. The question is what from the co-design angle, what changes will be needed to maybe supply I mean, what angle we're gonna give it, what extra angle we're gonna give it to the BCs. But the way I see is that the flow of the technological side can be done really fast. The forking, the validation flow of maybe some actor checking, hey, yeah, this is valid because of this, and this. And that part of the process for sure will be done by that date. In fact, much, much more earlier. So yeah, from there on, it's like getting feedback and iterating over that.
Okay. So I think we touched on this in the studio session when you did the demo of DIDS with Abdul
Hmm.
Rahman, where we clarified that the verification process you were presenting is peer review. So is that still the same? That hasn't changed?
I mean, at the moment, it is like that regarding the proof of concept. We have not changed that, but not necessarily. I mean, yeah, there always be a peer review component. I think it should exist.
Okay. Is there any way that we can make the verification a bit stronger? Or said another way, um, like where is the in real life component of this? Because, or where does it touch the real world? And this has relevance to Delphi as well. Delphi, if we're structuring the emergent learning, for example, so that they identify mm, what processes they want to make visible, they do that by generating data.
Yeah.
And that data can come from something that can be verified. And that would be the other half of the equation of DIDs, or the verified
How
claims of
can you
DIDs.
verify that data though? If it's they
That's
are
the
picking
question.
data of the community.
Well, yeah, that's that's the
What
question.
what I'm thinking is maybe in the collective sharing, the thing is in meaning making, there's always subjectivity, and that's fine. It's not a bad thing.
I mean,
But let me play with, do you remember the quadrant of the description of the what are you seeing within your community? And it's like it's all data, it's all description. I'm seeing there's no water running. I am seeing that there's a lot of trash in the streets. I'm seeing that there's a lot of issues with the police. And that, in a way, can be verifiable. But only that. The rest of the quadrant, it's all subjective.
So I'm highlighting, or I want to highlight an interrelationship between um, the technicality that Carlos is working on and the facilitation that you're working on, Delphi, which is where do the where does the verification touch the ground?
I don't know. What do you think, Carlos?
Well, I was gonna say, there are multiple things that can be done. I mean, the BC data can be linked to some real data. For example, we could probably cryptographically hash, uh, to say timelining contribution, something real can be linked to the BC internal metadata so that it's somehow touching upon something that was generated during the event. There is also this cool tech that it might be a little bit complex to implement, but basically it was like CK validations. You heard of CK proofs tabs?
Yeah,
So like you can ask information to the BCE.
yeah,
You can ask questions to the data,
without
and
it
it will
revealing
tell you if
the
something is true
data.
or not.
Yeah,
So did this person, for example, did this person do more than 10 commits in the project? And it will answer you back if it's true or not without revealing that information. So that's
yeah,
also a cool feature. There are a few cool things that you can do. Like,
yeah.
yeah,
That is cool. That is cool. But for us to have a differentiator versus many things that are already being built, one thing that makes us really unique is the kind of living systems approach, you could say. So it's this interrelationship between your domain, Carlos, and Delphi's domain is something that we can really deepen to give us like uh, a way of being a bit special, a bit different.
Yeah.
And is that going to be ready for this event? Like, is it with these mechanisms that we can then distribute a certain amount of funding to each profile?
I think I think the tech is completely there. Like for sure it can be done. The question would be uh like what is that final step to, you know, concretar la idea.
Big.
Yeah.
Make the idea.
Porque yo desde un punto de vista tecnológico y con la base que hicimos no veo ningún problema de dificultad. De hecho, el desarrollo puede ser rápido. Es el tema de cómo lo aterrizamos a lo que queremos, un poquito más. Porque como te digo, la tecnología es muy flexible. O sea, se puede crear un VC, linkearlo a otras cosas, ya sea por la metadata, ya sea por un CK proof, ya sea por conectado a una API. eh, pero la idea es cómo lo quieren conectar ya. Y que eso se conecte al funding. Porque puede ser porque bueno, es que no sé, como no tenemos todavía como la funding app o cómo va a ser el funding flow, entonces de pronto esa parte no es muy clara. O sea, ¿qué es lo mínimo que necesita los stakeholders visualizar para que haya un funding process, diría yo?
Ujú, ujú. ¿Y es en el dominio de divs o es afuera de divs? Porque si es afuera, tenemos que aplicar capacidad para esto.
O sea, está interconectado, pero como la parte de funding no la hemos hablado, puede que eso sea un domain diferente de momento.
Vale, vale. Okay. Um, let's start wrapping up then. Thanks, Carlos. Thanks, Delphi. So I was taking note of all of these points in time. I will share them in the general chat as well. One last one that I added, which we haven't touched on yet, is last week, I think I invited the DIDS team, I think to Noah in a call maybe to do a Prisma Studio session where you could run a workshop on DIDS. Do you still want to do that next week on January 29th? Cool.
Yes, I would like to because it brings. I mean, for me, this is all about like building and validating because I don't want us to start building and start developing stuff and then we got to redo it again or like I think like every medium or big step we do, we can validate that through a studio session with key how you say participants.
Yeah.
So like we sort of establish like a validated achievement timeline. Don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Delphi, can you maybe aim to be there for that one? We can move it later as well. It's currently at 10 a.m. European time, but we can put it later.
Yeah, if you can put it later, that would be awesome.
Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah, because that time Carlos will be like super asleep too, probably.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Or
true.
better.
Hey, guys, I need to jump.
Yeah.
But I think this was a very productive session. So thank you.
Thank you, Daffy.
Yeah, I need to jump too.
Let's eat.
Nice.
Ciao.
Ciao.
Thank you.
Bye.
Yes.